probably kill you.
Sometimes you just need to jump off a cliff. That's the theme for this week's The Weekly Strategy Memo. I'm Rich Taffel, president of RLT Strategies, and each week I answer a strategy question from a world-changing leader like you. And this week's question comes to us from Joe in Maryland. He writes, "Since I was a teenager, I wanted to be a writer. With a lot of hard work and a little luck, I've become the editor of a non-profit association newspaper. It's a good job, and I'm well paid. There's just one problem. I'm not enjoying myself. I still like to write, but the fire's gone out. Is this just burnout, or is it something more?" Your situation reminds me a lot of a client I also had here in Washington. She worked for an association, did public relations, made a great salary, and the association's mission was so wonderful that every time she told people where she worked, their eyes lit up. It was a great job, great pay. There was only one problem, and I think it might be the problem that you're facing right now. She called it burnout. Burnout is often the fact that we are not changing in our jobs and in our lives. You know that old Christmas song that says, "Oh, tidings of comfort and joy"? It makes comfort and joy sound like the same thing. But the reality is, if you really are going to grow in your life, you're going to need to be uncomfortable. In fact, you could say it takes uncomfort to lead to joy. They're not the same thing. Change requires being uncomfortable in your job, in your relationships, always pushing, always growing, always developing. We sometimes get so comfortable in our jobs, we think, I'm going to keep this the same forever. The reality is, it's a recipe for stagnation and death. And what do we call it? Burnout. I've lost the passion. We've grown apart. All those expressions. In the case of my friend here in Washington, what she did, she needed to jump off a cliff. That's what I refer to it when you need to make a dramatic change in your life, sometimes almost without a plan, just to get out of a bad situation. She put her apartment up for rent, and she's been traveling through Latin America for the last 2 years, creating new jobs, learning new languages, meeting new people. Her life is all about change. Today, she's become quite the guru for other people on their life search and journey. She jumped off a cliff. Joe, I think it might be time for you to jump off a cliff, and for my other listeners, you might ask yourself, what is it in my life that I really need to change? Where do I need to jump off a cliff? And that's the question for you for this week's The Weekly Strategy Memo. I'm Rich Taffel, and I look forward to your questions and comments. Thank you.